interesting because now you've been around tombs and mummies since you were a child. And so obviously, ghost stories and stuff probably didn't scare you when you were growing up. But you come across different stuff like curses and warnings, etc., in Egyptian tombs, right? I mean, Howard Carter's team found similar stuff on Tutankhamun's tomb, and legend has it they all suffered some form of misfortune. I don't know how much that is true, but how do you deal with this as archaeologists? You know, respecting the sanctity of the site versus wanting to get to the bottom of what's in it.
It's a nice question because even when I was in the tombs for the first period, when I was as a toddler, as a child, I was being entering into the tombs or meeting with the mummies. Even I have the same feeling sometimes that it can be that the mummy can suddenly get out from the coffin and it can just clap you up in the museum. It will screw you up there. But obviously, you have lots of charms and Hanuman Chalisa at disposal. So it doesn't make any sense. But obviously, for an archaeologist, you need to understand the sanctity as well. Because they are, after all, the entire thing, they are your ancestors. So you need to have a lot of ethicity, you need to be ethical to the mummy. You need to be ethical to the dead person. You need to show that respect. Obviously, it is a logical thing to think about. But at the same time, if we talk about the curse stories of Tutankhamun's tomb and how Howard Carter and Lord Carnarvon, all those people, they suffered something or the other. Howard Carter, he didn't suffer something directly. Actually, his canary bird was eaten by a cobra. Lord Carnarvon, he died because he was shaving and accidentally he shaved upon a pimple or something like that, and then it became septic and he died of poisoning, blood poisoning. So yes, it can be said that the tomb had some curse because in the course of almost 10 years after the discovery of the tomb, only 2-3 people survived who were the people to enter the tomb in order to retrieve the treasures. And the curse itself said, there was a curse in the entrance to the tomb. When the tomb was sealed from the front, on the top of the seal, an inscription was written on the wall, and it said that who shall enter the tomb would have death on the wings coming into him. And then there were also representations of the cobra, the Egyptian cobra. So Howard Carter's canary was eaten by a cobra. That is a very interesting thing. But then you even had lots of media reports from that time. Obviously, when the tomb was discovered, it was a sensation all over the world. So Howard Carter, he gave the exclusive right of covering the tomb to the New York Times. But there were other media agencies as well who wanted to have their share of the news. And just for the TRPs, this story of the curse was circulated and it went very well with the common people, with the general audience. And then you have movies coming into Hollywood, the Mummy, the original Mummy, which was made around 1960s or 1950s, I suppose. And then you have the re-edition, The Mummy and The Mummy Returns. So it was a way by which the general audience was influenced. It was a way by which the Egyptomania was, it spread far and wide in the Western world. And the stories of the curse even are very much believed by some of the modern Egyptologists that before entering the tomb, they have some rituals among the local Egyptian people, especially the laborers. They do something like, chanting prayers and burning incense. They do it. After seeing the case of the tomb of Tutankhamun, but since then, since 1922, when the tomb was discovered, we didn't find anything as marvelous and splendid as the tomb of Tutankhamun. No complete tombs before the discovery and no complete tombs even since then. So it was only the tomb of Tutankhamun that we find the tomb was complete. The treasures were intact, the body was intact. It was marvelous. It was fabulous. But the story of the curse itself, it was rumored by the media at that time. because they needed to have their share of the TRP. So they had lots of stories, they had lots of things that the tomb, the mummy of Tutankhamun itself, it would rise and it would do something to the discoverers of the tomb. It was like this, it
Right.
was a lot of humor and lot of rumor together. So
All
it was
right.
but wonderful. It was Egyptomania spread far and wide.
And you mentioned how the King Tut's tomb was the first, was the or the only complete tomb discovered. But wasn't Saqqara also a complete tomb?
No, because though it was a tomb, it was an intact tomb, we didn't find that way the treasure we discovered from the tomb of Tutankhamun. It was absolutely very different because Tutankhamun's tomb was a tomb of a king. It was a tomb of
All right.
pharaoh. The tomb of a pharaoh and the tomb of an administrator, they are very different. You intend to find something very valuable in the tomb of a king as compared to that of an official or an administrator or a priest. So it was only the tomb of Tutankhamun, because he was a king, he was a pharaoh, that we find complete treasure. His chariots and his sandals and his mummy and his food items, his clothing, furniture, jewelry, ornaments. It was all intact. So it makes it unique. So we didn't find anything likewise the tomb of Tutankhamun ever since 1922 when it was discovered by Howard Carter.
That's interesting.